Well, g'day guys and welcome to our home in Adelaide, or as they say in Afrikaans, hoe gaan dit meneer? Now, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not on the bike. Today, I'm going to be throwing out the old Weber gas barbecue and I'm going to replace it with this bad boy. This is a charcoal braai all the way from South Africa. So when I placed the order for the braai, I looked online for assembly instructions, a YouTube tutorial, and I couldn't find anything. So I thought I'd go about fixing that. So in this series, I'm going to show you how to assemble the braai. And as you can see, I've already made a start with the stand. I'm going to show you how to install it under a pergola, put on the cowl, flash everything off, and then we'll move on to firing up the barbecue, and we might even get onto some menus. So if you're thinking about pulling the trigger on a braai, stick around. Okay guys, thanks for staying tuned. Now the unit I purchased was the 1000mm or a metre wide freestanding braai from Barbaco in Perth, WA. I'll put their website on down here somewhere. Now when the unit arrived, it's unassembled, all strapped down to a big pallet, and the guy that dropped it off had a pallet truck and he wheeled it into position down the back of my property. Now, as I said, it comes flat packed, so it's pretty much completely in individual pieces, and you'll need to go about assembling those. And as you can see, I've already started with the wood stand. But as you can also see, I've only hand tightened the nuts and bolts. So you're gonna need a 13mm ring spanner and a wrench or a ratchet spanner, depending on what you call them where you live. All right, so I'll grab those and I'll tighten everything up. There's the stainless steel fasteners. Okay, so there's all the top ones done. Now I'll need to flip the unit on its side, just make sure everything's nice and straight, and then we'll tighten up the lower fasteners. Okay, that's all the nuts and bolts fastened. The next thing we'll do is move the old Weber out of the way, and we'll reposition this in place of the Weber. As you can see here, I've got a shelf that's probably going to be in the way there, so I'm going to remove that as well. Okay, that's the shelf out of the way. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is drag the wood stand over and position it where the Weber was. Okay, now we'll get a sorry, there you are. Now we'll get a tape measure and we'll space it off the wall. I'm leaving around about 100 millimeters. Okay, now I'm not sure if you can see, but I've got a slight dip in this block paved flooring to allow for drainage, and it's dropping off that way and that way. So what I've done is I got myself some packers from the hardware store, different thicknesses, so I can level it all up. We'll do that now. Okay, so side to side this way, it's actually quite level, but it really does drop off towards the back. So we'll try and level that up. Now, just at this point as well, what I will point out is that it is mild steel. And if we get any moisture in here, I don't want it to rust everywhere. So I'm actually going to sit the whole of the unit on some plastic packers before we even decide to level it. Okay, another look at the packers. As you can see, I'm using some different thicknesses to try and level it out. Okay, as you can see, I'm having a few difficulties here actually locating, lifting it and putting in the packers. So I've got some friends coming over a little bit later, a little bit of muscle, because they're going to help me lift the top grill part on top of the stand. So I think I'm just going to take a breather and wait till they get here, and then we'll do the leveling and put the grill part on in the same process. Stay tuned. All right, guys, you might be able to see the packers turned out to be too shallow, so we've had to use some timber instead along the back there, and then we're going to anchor it to the wall as well. Now I've called in the heavy artillery, and we're going to bring in the grill and drop it on top of the wood stand. All right. Which way is it going? Right. Stuck on something.
You're going to lift it over the tab there.
Is this meant to be?
Yeah, this goes down the inside of it.
Yeah. Up she
So,
goes.
up she goes. Lift it. Give you a hand.
There we go.
Yeah. Show the red. Yes. Off.
Okay.
And then you'll have to re-wiggle and rejiggle.
You popped it already.
See what I'm dealing with? All right.
Where's the bottles? Underneath.
All right. I'm gonna let these guys go now. Their hourly rate is disgraceful. So off you go. Thanks, guys. Cheers. All right, guys. So massive thanks to Sonny and Ollie for the muscle for hire. Thanks very much for that. It's probably going to cost me a few beers. As you saw, it's a massive heavy unit. And what we've done is used some packers on the front there and we've actually used a little bit of timber at the back to pack it out, so it's all nice and solid. But as a step further, just to prevent any movement at all, I'm going to go down to the hardware store, buy some brackets to bolt into here, and I'll bolt them onto the back there. So stick around, I'll head off down to the hardware store and I'll be back shortly. Okay guys, back from my quick run to the hardware store, and I managed to score some black brackets already painted, so I don't need to bother about that. And I've also got some painted black hardware. So the plan is to drill through the side of the braai here and bolt that through. I'm not drilling through the grill area. And then I'll drill through the back panel here and put some big washers on the back, and that will stop any sideways or forwards and back movement. Okay, let's grab the drill. Okay, for the timber, I'm just going to hold it in place with some lightweight screws for now. Okay, and then once I get this bolted on, I'll take these out and drill right through and bolt it. Okay, now I've got the bracket at the right height. It's not going to move anywhere. I'll drill through the side of the wood stand and we'll use some nuts and bolts to secure it. All right, got a brand new set of drills, so we should be okay, drill bits should we say. When you're going through steel, always start off with a small pilot hole and work your way up, although they're only like a 6mm size bolt anyway. But we'll start off with a small pilot hole. You know what, I can hear you all saying, where's your safety glasses? Perhaps I should grab some just in case. Okay, safety first. We'll switch out the pilot drill and we'll try for a 6mm. We'll grab a nut and bolt and secure that in place, and then we'll do the second hole. Okay, as I said, I managed to find some pre-painted black fasteners. They were a little bit more expensive, but at least I don't need to touch them up. Okay, these are exactly 6mm, so I'm going to have to go up one size on the drill. There we go. And we'll put the nut on the back. Okay, I've just done that hand tight for now, and we'll go ahead and drill the second pilot hole. Okay, there's the second hole. In with the fastener, and this time I should be able to reach. Actually, it's a little bit awkward, so I'll go around, put on the nut. Okay, so now I've got the two nuts and bolts in there. I'll drill right through here, and we'll put some bolts in here and remove the screws. So I've got some longer nuts and bolts. Okay, slightly longer bolt on the back to allow for the timber, and I'm also going to use what they used to call penny washers just to spread the load there. Okay, now I've done that, I can take out the other screws. Okay, just grab the other bolts and washers. Okay, so there's your longer bolts. Push those through. And 2 washers for the back. Okay, so I've got all the fasteners in hand tight, and these are actually socket head or Allen type heads. So I've got my Allen keys. So these are nice and tight now, that's not going to go anywhere. All I need to do is repeat the process on the other side. Okay, now we've got the braai securely fastened down, I'm going to unpack the rest of the equipment that comes with this and we'll install them into the braai, so stick around. Okay, one of the biggest and heaviest pieces that comes with it is I'd call it an ash pan maybe, and all that does is sit on these 2 pieces of angle and you just slide that in. Now, I've got no assembly instructions with this at all. The only thing that came was the assembly instructions for the wood stand, but it looks pretty basic. I think we'll be able to work it out. Then the next thing we're going to do is grab the 2 drawers that go under here, and I'll explain what they're for in a second. So the first drawer is the ash drawer. That goes on the left. And as you can see, it just slides in. I'll remove the packaging after. Now grab the second drawer. Okay, so this is the second one, and this slides in to the right. So, first one on the left is the ash drawer, and this is what they call the warming drawer. So it's almost like an oven. So you could have your charcoal sat on the plate here and then put in, say, a chicken or even a pizza and keep that warm and even cook it in there as well. Now, inside the ash drawer, there's a couple of other pieces that I haven't got a clue what these are for yet, but we'll work it out. For now, I'll just pop them back in there. Actually, I've just realized what this one is. This is to cover the hole there when you've got your charcoal in. So once your fire's gone out, let's say the next morning, you take this little, let's call it a cover off, and then you can scrape your ash into here. I'm going to be showing you this when I fire up the braai and we do a test run. Okay, so there's the trap door, let's call it, the cover for the ash. And that just pops in there like that. Okay, let's see what else we've got in the parcel. No idea what that's for. I think it might be for the back. Okay guys, that's the 2 drawers fitted. The next thing we're going to unpack is the firebox. I'll grab that, put that in, and I'll explain how that works. Okay, if you don't go to the gym regularly, you're going to need someone to help you with this, because this thing is built to last. You can probably see there's a little lip on the back there, and there's also a lip on the back of the braai right at the top in there. So that lip sits on there, and then there's a little leg, which you can probably see, which sits on top of the ash tray. Okay, let's lift that in. Okay, that's it, easy as that. If we take a close look at the firebox, there's actually a little 90-degree angle on there, and I believe that's to support a rotisserie. And there's also a hole on the other side of the braai for that to go through. But we'll cover that off once we start doing some cooking. All right, the next thing I'm going to get is the grill bars, the grill itself. Okay, and again, fantastic quality, very heavy, and I believe it's stainless steel, so it should be fairly easy to keep clean. All right, and all you do with that, depending on how much heat you want into your meat, you put that at the level that you need it, and it just slides in and out like that, easy as that. So the way, again, I will go through this when I do some cooking and when I fire this up. But what you do is you make your fire in here, start off with some kindling, build up your fire, and then it comes with a poker, which I'll grab in a second. And once the firewood's turned into charcoal, you give that a bang, and then you spread it across here. So you put it where you need the heat in your meat. Okay, what are we going to unpack next? Now, I mentioned this item before, didn't really understand what it was for. Let's unpack it now. Everything comes so well packed, and you're going to have a mountain of cardboard to get rid of once you've done your install, but at least you know that nothing's going to get damaged or scratched. Wow, this thing is well packaged. I'll just grab a knife. Okay, so there it is. Now, looking at the design here, it seems to match the profile of the grill support bars. So I'm going to slide the grill out and drop that in there. And I think that's how it goes. But we'll work it out as we're going along. All right, what's next? Okay, next up is this big boy. Now, you probably figured out this is actually the door. So it's profiled to suit, and it's a full door, which is an upgrade, because I believe previously it only had a door that came through here, and you had to buy a top bit just to block it off. All right, I'll unpack this, and we'll see if we can fit it. Wow, as I said, everything is very well packaged. But if you get any little scrapes and knocks, they even include a tin of paint so you can touch things up, which I think is great value. All right, let's work out how to fit this. It should be fairly straightforward. Now, I think I've figured this out. Sorry, let me turn this off. So I think you need to fit the door before you fit the ash pan. So I'm going to pull these things out so I can get a better look. Don't go anywhere. Aha! Right, I think I've figured it out. Okay. Down there in the bottom corner, I'll see if I can zoom in. You've got a socket head screw. It's like a big grub screw. And, yep, wrong size. Third time lucky. Okay, so I think you need to undo those so you can push the pin in and out, but I might be wrong. So let's try that in there, and then we'll do the other side. Let me just move the camera. So hopefully you can see in there, there's a grub screw. Now I might be wrong, but I haven't seen any instructions for any of this. So that might be something that you want to do, Barbaco, or you might want to let people know that I'm doing it for you. All right, so my guessing is that we'll just tighten those up. Like so, and I've just tightened up the other side, and then we should be able to push that back in the runner. Okay, there you are over here. Okay, so you push that back in the runner, and then to close it, I think you just lift it up like that. Aha! Look at that. That is actually pretty clever. So you lift it up to release it, and then drop it down and slide it in. Now the beauty of this is, makes a nice table to work off once you've got your door down out the way. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to tighten up those grub screws and put everything back in. Okay, a couple more items to unpack and then we're going to wrap up for today. All right, here's your poker and spreader. So what you do with that, and again I'm going to demo this when I get a braai going. This is for poking in the back of there and knocking out the charcoal into the pan and then you can use it to sort of scrape along. So that's your poker. Okay, the next thing to show you is this very well-made shovel. It's quite heavy actually. So you can use this then to push your ash through that trapdoor into the ash drawer. So that's a really well-made piece of kit. And then the next thing is super cool. Wait till you see this. Okay, and this is the last piece of the jigsaw. This is a poikie arm. Now, if you don't know what a poikie is, here's a show and tell. This guy is a poikie. So it's a bit like an Australian Dutch oven, apart from it's got these feet over the top. Traditionally, you would fill them with sort of potatoes, meat, you can make a stew or a curry, and you would sit that on top of the embers and just leave that for hours. Okay, so the arm goes in the side here, and your poikie sits on there, but obviously you would swing that in on top of the charcoal. Well, that's about it for today, guys. In the next episode, I'm going to be installing the flue. In order to do that, I'm going to need to relocate those spotlights, cut a hole in the roof, flash it off, install the cowl and make everything nice and watertight. For today, I'm going to sign off with a beer. I think I've earned that. If you've liked this video and it's helped you out, then don't forget to help me out by hitting that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. As always, have a great day. Cheers.